Alright guys, so I'm going to show you, I guess, a little DIY of how to modify some spindles to accept coilovers. These have already been modified, so they already cut the spring perch off, but all they did was cut the perch off, grind down the weld, and weld it on the little D-rings. Didn't actually change the length of the strut tube. I'm going to be removing about 1 inch from it, because this car isn't like slammed or it's going to be really low. What I typically do is when you cut off 1 inch, it's basically where the original welds were. What a lot of people don't like to do is on this is an M3 strut tube. The reason why they don't like to cut that off is because you got to cut off the sway bar tab. I don't really care because one, these sway bar tabs are weak and they break all the time. So we're gonna be cutting off 1 inch from the bottom of this little D-ring. It's gonna cut into this sway bar tab, which I'm gonna rip out, and then I'm gonna weld AKG sway bar tabs and weld another set of D-rings on that. So let's get started. I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting and show you guys the process of modifying a set of spindles. Pretty soon, we're not gonna have to do this for those of us who like running ground control. They will be coming out, which has already it's been in the works for a while, where they're making a full billet spindle. So this is basically what you'd get from ground control. You just bolt on your lower knuckles. KW also has one that's fully bolt on, and I believe theirs comes with knuckles. I just personally prefer ground control. So let's get to it. All right, so I already cut off. So just to give you a recap here, this is the original D-ring. Here's the sleeve. So this is like that. Again, I told you guys that I cut off about 1 inch, so that's where that ends up. So I have to take off this tab. But like I said, I don't mind it because I don't like the factory tab anyways. So I cut that off to start. Then I cut off about 1 inch, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more, but I'll clean it up. And then here's the threaded where the gland nut goes on. Here are the AKG front sway bar tabs. I install these on all non-Ms as well. So that gets welded there. You know, I gotta clean that up. It gets welded there. But now I'm gonna chuck these two threads on the lathe. Here's the factory, here's the ground controls perch. So this sits flat right there. You can actually cut more to where the gland nut sits inside. I don't, because it's not really necessary, especially because you'll never hit that once you take off even that 1 inch. So I literally put that there, and then you have your new D-ring here. I get these from ground control. So as you can see, it's pretty flush, but what I do is I'll machine the tube to where this is like in the middle. That allows me to weld this on, penetrate full weld, and then I put my ring over it and it'll sit in the middle. Then I will top and bottom, and it just gives the tube a little bit more reinforcement. This will never break. I've never had one break. I've seen guys do it like a little ghetto, you know, where they just kind of tack everything up. I've never seen one break, so I don't think you should worry about that. So I'm gonna go ahead and take these over to the lathe, machine them down a bit. Then I have two tools that I've made up to hold this D-ring. So this is just a piece of exhaust tube with a gland nut welded onto it. So I'll thread this on all the way, and then this centers, you know, it'll let me position the D-ring where I want it. This piece is pretty much the same size as the threads, you know, minus the nut. So this is basically where I want this to stop. So after I'm done welding the tube, rather than me measuring and stuff, I thread this on all the way after I clean the threads, and it positions my D-ring. This tube is really straight. I've straightened it to the threads so that it's perfectly straight. Then I weld, remove this, and then I weld the top. So this is just a tube that I made up. And then we have this other tube that a very, very good friend of mine, Nigel, made for us a long time ago. We've probably had this tool maybe well over 10 years now, well over. So this just allows us to center the two tubes together. And you saw me cutting this with a Sawzall, which is, I don't really care how straight it is, because what I will do is I'll go in here, put this in there, and then just straighten the tube as much as I can. Even if there's a little tiny gap, it's fine because I'm going to be welding through it. Once this is welded, the only modification I made to the tool that he made us was I drilled and tapped to put a slide hammer on this, so that, because when this is hot, it expands. Once it starts to cool off, I don't want to wait an hour for this to fully cool down. So I just slide hammer this out. This piece comes out, and then my strut will be perfectly straight in there, and it'll be all assembled. All right. So you can do this without a lathe, grind, cut, however you can. Like, you don't need a lathe to do this. I'm fortunate enough to have a lathe. I bought this lathe from a buddy of mine a long time ago, which is like one of the best decisions I ever made, is to own a lathe, especially if you do a bunch of small custom stuff. So, like I said, we're gonna chuck this piece up. And I already know approximately how much I'm gonna cut. My best friend's dad's probably cringing right now. My best friend Chris, E30 Pollock, his dad's an actual machinist. All right, so now the pieces they're not fully machined where I want, but they're just straight. Now I can measure and see exactly where or how much I'm gonna cut. All right, so we finished machining the pieces like you saw over there. So this is the perch. So the threaded tube's almost the same size, but not really. When you put the D-ring on there, this is where the perch is gonna sit. You see there's a small gap between the D-ring and the tube, and that's because when I weld them, just using this for reference, that's gonna basically sit in the middle. So that's gonna be welded there, and then my D-ring goes over it, covers the weld, and then I'll be able to weld the top and bottom. So it becomes like an extra reinforcement. I've already cleaned both the tubes, put a little chamfer on both, so when I fill it with weld, it's penetrating and it's not gonna burn through, or it'll be flush. So now I take my Nigel tool here, put this in there, and you have to put this one in there as well. So I'll slip this in here. Doesn't need to go all the way. As you can see, it doesn't go all the way on this one. Button that up. I'll tack weld that in 4 corners. I'll tack that in 4 corners. Once I'm happy with it, I'll go ahead and weld it. Then this sucker gets put over here. I don't have to leave this one in here. I just do it because I see if, in case I have like a lumpy spot, I can correct it. But once that's welded, it'll be flush. Then I go ahead and put my perch in the middle there, gets welded. And after that, like I said, I'll put my little homemade tool here. I'll thread this sucker on. Mind you, this will already be one piece. So I thread this in. And this will basically, it's not threaded all the way. This will basically hold my D-ring where I want it. And then I'll I'd just be flipping this over, tack welding the D-ring, inspecting it, and then fully welding it. So for those of you wondering, or I don't even think I've ever spoken about it, I use a Miller Dynasty 350 to weld. I've had this welder for a long time now. I absolutely love it. I have M-Fury glass cups that have a screen. Really nice, really cool. I use Blue Demon welding rod, or I buy them from them. They're the best. And as far as my helmet, this is a cheap Harbor Freight one that I use. Honestly, I've had like really expensive ones and I haven't had very good luck. I have been meaning to order me a nice one, just because this one's a little uncomfortable after like a long period of time. And I feel like the helmet itself, like after welding for like a good 30-40 minutes or an hour, it gets really flimsy and it doesn't really protect me from the heat. But since I don't weld like for hours at a time, it doesn't really bother me. But that's basically my welding setup. And like I said, right now I have my tube on this. I'm gonna go ahead and tack weld it. I just use a small little magnet just to hold it from sliding down. So I'll go ahead and tack weld it, remove this, and start welding.